did include one-time funding for maintenance and repair projects across higher education. USD will benefit from this. These investments have been a standing priority for us, and you'll see a thank you in there for projects like the South Dakota Union Building and Churchill Haynes. These help us maintain safe and modern learning spaces for research and for other priorities that are really important for this university. And if you haven't seen the South Dakota Union Building or Phase 1 of Churchill Haynes, I would encourage you to do so. Those facilities look incredible, and we couldn't do those without the support of our state. This for the state is going to be a really difficult year, and so we have to remember that when we share in the good years that we benefit. We also have to remember that we will have to share in those tough years, and we're willing to do that. So we'll touch a little bit more on that later, but before I get to that, I want to read a quote from Winston Churchill. I have actually used Winston Churchill twice this year, once with the football team, and it worked. We beat state when I used it, and so I am going back to him today. A pessimist sees the difficulty in every opportunity. An optimist sees the opportunity in every difficulty. So today I am choosing optimism. So a little bit broader perspective, what has the state done for USD? So like I said earlier, it's easy to focus on what didn't happen, but I want to take a step back and look at the bigger picture on what has happened. Over the past several years, the state has shown consistent support for higher education in South Dakota. We have been the beneficiary of multiple tuition freezes, and that provides a more affordable access to higher education for our prospective students and more access to countless students. Significant investments in facilities. The South Dakota Union Building I mentioned not long ago. Health Sciences Building could not have happened without the investment of the state of South Dakota. Churchill Haynes renovation, we finished Phase 1, Phase 2 will come this summer. And the Knutson School of Law. In fact, over $85 million in investments in academic building improvements alone in the last 5 years. That is a commitment. Creation of a needs-based scholarship was something that Art Rush, former legislator and current legislator Chris Casson knows we've advocated on this campus for decades, and that came to fruition just 4 years ago. These actions demonstrate a commitment to strengthening higher education, not just for today, but for the long-term viability of higher education in South Dakota. That commitment has also helped shape some of the success and the highlights for USD, and I'm just going to share a handful of those. Enrollment growth. This fall, USD welcomed 10,405 students, our second highest head count in history. The year prior was our highest, which was 10,719, not that I count each and every head, but I do. Enrollment at USD Sioux Falls grew by 19%, and that was driven by programs like the MBA, elementary education, and those are to meet workforce needs on this main campus. Nursing, kinesiology, medical biology, and psychology remain among our most popular majors, and those fields are critical to South Dakota and that workforce need. And just to highlight, growth at USD Sioux Falls is a good thing for Vermillion. We have capacity limitations here in Vermillion, so as our online programs and our Sioux Falls campus grows, that growth feeds and fuels our Vermillion campus. It complements what we do here, and it expands what we're able to do here at our main campus. So that is critical to this campus and what we are able to do and grow here. Our biomedical engineering undergraduate program earned ABET accreditation this year. It is an incredibly prestigious accreditation, and it is very rare. This is one of the very few programs in the country that was able to get ABET accreditation when the program is housed within a College of Arts and Sciences. It is not common for an engineering program to be housed within a liberal arts college. So I'm very proud of that program, and if you follow any of the In the Den conversations that I've started this year, I'm going to do an interview with the chair of that program, and so hopefully that'll come out here in a couple weeks, and you'll have an opportunity to hear from him a little bit more about that process and that accreditation. I'll touch a little bit about athletic achievements. That's front of mind for a lot of us right now because it's crossover season and there are a lot of sports going on right now. But as all of you, if you follow athletics, probably know, our Coyote athletes just continue to shine. And it's the support behind those student athletes continues to come. We announced earlier this year a state-of-the-art indoor track facility with a lead gift by the generosity of Mr. T. Denny Sanford, a $20 million gift. The football team is having playoff success for the third consecutive year. And this 3-year run by the football program marks the most successful 3-year run in this university's football history. The women's basketball team had its best start in the Division I era. I actually sent a meme. I don't know if any of you watch Jim Carrey movies, but the I'm Back came out of that one. That's how I feel about our women's basketball team right now. The volleyball team had a really strong finish to their season, and that is a really young group of young women. I am incredibly excited about their future as well. And the men's basketball team is off and rolling. They have taken on a really high caliber schedule this year. And I've been impressed with their hitting that schedule with such high caliber competition this early. And I really feel like that's gonna pay off for them as the season goes on. Tonight, I'm looking forward to them facing Portland State. For a variety of reasons. If your schedules allow, I hope you can make it. And this is for you, Susan. Portland State. Do you get that? Does anybody get that? I mean, like whooping cough. Does anybody get that? I thought I'd get a better laugh out of that. I thought about wearing a mask tonight, but I wasn't sure how people would take that. I was really annoyed with them last year. I don't know about the rest of you. Facility improvements. I want to touch on this one a little bit more. I mentioned USD has invested $85 million in academic facilities in the past 5 years. The gas and field house, that we are just simply not going to slow down. That's another facility we're investing in. The wellness center expansion, I hope you've all had an opportunity to see that. $31 million facility. That is state-of-the-art, the envy of the region, no question. We have clubs from Omaha reaching out, wanting to come up and host competitions here in this facility. We're looking towards residence hall upgrades. I'm sure few of you have had the opportunity to see Richardson Hall, but we intend to emulate that in now Olson Hall this May. We will start that project. As soon as we finish Olson Hall, we will move on to Beatty and then on to Mickelson, so that North Complex will be completely renovated here over the course of the next 6 years. And it's projects like this that we will continue to move forward with. We have over $150 million in projects planned over the next 7 to 10 years. And they're not just about buildings, right? These are about creating environments where students can learn and succeed. And then controlling the controllables, right? We advocate for continued investment, but we know that our greatest strengths are about what we do together, right? The more you can get, we know that we can get more done when we are working together. There's a lot more that can be done. Many hands make light work. A lot of you are familiar with that saying. So we're going to continue to focus on building partnerships with local businesses and with organizations. We're going to work towards supporting scholarships and student success initiatives. We're going to promote Vermillion and USD as a hub for that innovation and for that opportunity. And our focus is going to be on solutions. And we are going to continue to choose to lead with optimism and action. So in closing, I just want to say that USD is proud to be South Dakota's flagship university. We are proud to call Vermillion home. And together, I know that we can ensure that our students and our community are going to continue to thrive. So thank you always for your continued support. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. But I will close, as I always do, with a go Yotes. Thank you. Any questions? Yes.
So you talked about the Sioux Falls campus. Do you foresee any of the programs, nursing was one you mentioned, will we be expanding some of those programs
Not
in the future?
Not until they're full. We have a cohort now. It's in Vermillion here. It's approaching capacity. The cohort in Sioux Falls is not, so I don't foresee that expanding until that cohort's full. Good question. Yes. Yes, sir.
Any updates with the med school and the timing on how the
Yeah.
transition will go with that building?
Yeah, great question. So far, we are on track with that, with progress for the medical school. The reception around the state has been really positive. The students are really excited. Not a lot of change there. As you can imagine, that's a really complex movement. One thing I will say, and it's in that document, the IDS, Interdisciplinary Data Sciences, that would go into Lee Medicine. We've had some really good conversations with Hewlett-Packard. Thanks to Keith Thomas. I don't know if he's a Rotary member, but all of you are probably very familiar with him. He has facilitated some of those conversations and some of the excitement around that in the computer science program and what that can mean for this campus. And there's some really exciting opportunities there. So more progress there on the computer science side than I had anticipated. More excitement there as well. So thanks for that question. Yeah.
With that med school building,
Yeah.
can there be not a medical school, not a full dentist program?
That is such a good question. So when we had all that one-time money, I actually had our medical school dean look into two programs. One was dental school, and the other was optometry, like really focusing in on that for obvious reasons. Vance Thompson, right, a USD alum. Dental school was particularly challenging because their accreditation does not allow a university to do what we've done with our medical school. For those that may not be as familiar, our medical school relies very heavily on community-based instruction. So that means private physicians providing a great deal of that clinical instruction. And our physicians are essentially volunteering their time. I mean, they are the most generous with their time. They get a very small stipend from the university. So we are able to keep our costs to the student and our costs to the state so incredibly reasonable that our community-based model works so well. We're not allowed to do that with dentistry. And so with dentistry, it was going to be $45 million building, plus then about $20 million just from state dollars, annual operating, to have a dental school. The other complicating factor with that is we would have had to have essentially created a dental practice that then would have competed with dentists throughout the state. And in order to have the volume of dentistry and patients, it would have had to have been located in Sioux Falls and competed with all of those dentists in Sioux Falls. That isn't the kind of business that we want to get into. So until those accreditors change how they allow that to happen, And I think someday they probably are going to have to. Dentistry is probably going to be on the periphery for us. Now, dental hygiene, we are going to continue to work through that, and we'll have partnerships like we already do with Lincoln and Iowa, and we'll keep working through that. But I did look into that because I think there's need, no question. Great question. Yes, ma'am.
What's the status with Akeley Lawrence?
As soon as I can get everyone moved over to Lee Med, we will take Akeley Lawrence down. Yes, it's not great. The foundation's failing. To everyone in this room, be thinking about how we can honor the Lawrence brothers, right? And I need to be thinking about who could be a participant in that as well. I don't know that I think it's a building, maybe. I don't know that I think it should be a statue, but I do think a Nobel Prize winner should be honored on this campus. I don't want that name to disappear from campus. But yeah, great question. Yes?
Well, if nobody else has taken the opportunity. Any thoughts or plans for the old golf course?
Possibly, but not immediate. I don't know what needs to be done with softball, but we need to do something with softball, and I shouldn't even say this out loud. I know somebody's gonna say something to John, and John's gonna call me and say, "What were you thinking?" I don't tell him I said this. I would like to have a better softball complex, but I don't know how to raise the money for it in terms of what that would look like. A softball stadium, that would be a nice place to do it. It's not ideal. There's no stoplight on Highway 50. It's horrible to get across that highway. It's dangerous. I think housing could be an option out there at some future date, but again, not without a stoplight. It's dangerous. Until we get a solution for that from DOT, it's going to be hard to have much of anything out there, frankly. And I don't like having our child care center out there. We have to get a solution there. And I know that the city's having that conversation. I appreciate that a great deal.
What's the future looking like on enrollments?
We are in what researchers over the years have called the demographic cliff. It started this fall, and it's a 10-year window. So I would not anticipate growth. It's gonna be tough. I think universities like the University of South Dakota will survive. I think a lot of universities will not. But it will not be easy. It will take all of us working together, no question. I'll just add on to that. The affordability initiatives from the state to fund those tuition freezes when they did, I think was well timed, was probably set us up for success in this 10-year window in a way that maybe others will not benefit. So I think that was critical. And I really appreciate their partnership in that. Yes, sir.
About a month ago, Penn State fired his football coach on the condition that he not coach Penn State starting next year for a payout, I believe it was $52 million. I just wanted everybody to know that I've agreed not to coach at Penn State for $51 million. I can save him $1 million. Would you pass that on to your counterpart in wherever Penn State? They've got a better offer here.
I'll one up you. I'll agree not to coach there for 50 million.
I graduated from Virginia Tech and the coach is now coaching at Virginia.
I can't even wrap my head around that kind of money. All right, I think I'm being pulled off the stage here. Thank you.